Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today we're going to have a look at what's in this box, which you may have assumed by the video's title. This is, obviously, the Copper State Model's 35th scale plastic model of the German PSPWG 1ZMI.
That's not how you say it, Herbert!
Oh, okay. Well, I think it means Panzersparwagen. Not quite sure on the pronunciation of that, but I think it means basically armoured cars. I'm not German though, so I wouldn't know. This is an Italian vehicle, which I believe they called the Lancia 1ZM, and I believe the I in the German designation would stand for Italian. This one is, obviously, the German captured version. I recently built the Copper State Model's Canadian armoured MG carrier, which was a very nice kit. The video was put up on Monday, so feel free to check that out. There's a link in the description. I enjoyed it so much, even though there were some mistakes and a little bit of frustration, but nothing too bad. But I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to start my next Copper State Models kit right away. Well, I'm not starting right away, but I will be soon. Enough of that for now, you're not here to hear me waffle. Let's have a look at what's inside the box. A lot of stuff really, all nicely hidden underneath this very cool looking instruction booklet.
Very funny, Herbert.
The plastic here is just as good as the MG carrier, and that is to say it looks really good. Very high quality. Everything is well moulded, and as best I can tell, free of errors. So far, the things I'd heard about Copper State Models being rather good are true, though you never know. I might have a horrendous time building this one, though I really doubt it. Everything that went wrong with the MG carrier was my own fault, and I expect the same with this kit too. I'm not planning on making any mistakes of course, but you know, they happen. So looking at the parts in this kit, I wasn't able to find any glaringly obvious defects or errors, and everything is really crisp and nice. Of course, if there are any problems with the kit, or indeed mistakes I've made with it, I'll be sure to let you know in the build video. I'm obviously no expert on the PSPWG 17MI. Somebody's going to get pissy that I'm not taking the name seriously. Anyway, because of my lack of expertise in the field, I can't tell you if the details are super accurate or not, but from what I'm seeing on the sprues, it should build up to be quite a nice representation of the vehicle, and as I suspect you can see, the detailing is very nice and neat. Being a World War I vehicle, this has a lot of rivets and things like that, which, from a modelling standpoint, I think is cool. And for me, that sort of construction is part of the appeal of these vehicles to me. I just find it really interesting to look at. As with the MG carrier, there are a bunch of fine bars and detail-y bits here, including engine bits and pieces. I didn't have too much trouble with these on the MG carrier, mostly because I was very careful in cutting them off the sprue, though there was one incident. Anyway, the point is that these bits shouldn't give you too much guff if you're careful when cutting them off the sprue. Make sure that you are not actually cutting the part and you should be fine. I did also seem to have some slight issues with the frames on the MG carrier, so before I even start building this thing, I'm going to suggest being careful to get those aligned as neatly as possible. I'm suggesting it to both me and you, and really, that is a good idea with basically anything. This kit really does include quite a few wheels, and I haven't had a thorough look at the instructions yet, but it looks to me like you can choose between wheels that are totally solid pieces of plastic, or you get rims that will take rubber tyres. I think that's a really cool option to have. It looks like you could maybe even get away with leaving the rubber tyres off until after painting, though maybe not. I guess we'll find out later. And here are the rubber tyres, 7 of them, which makes sense really, one of them would be the spare. These are rubber, or something rubber-like. I don't actually know what the material is, but it does have a bit of squish to it. Not too much of course, but enough to be flexible. They're pretty decent looking tyres if you ask me. Some clear plastic is included for the lenses of the lamps, and it looks rather clear, which is exactly what you want for this kind of thing. And here are the decals. I'm not going to pretend to understand them and what they mean, but most of them look Italian, which does make sense. Though, and I'm only guessing that some of them might be German. I've no idea how the Germans marked these things when they captured them.
You mean you don't do exhaustive research that would add days to your video production time, Herbert?
Believe it or not, I don't. The instruction booklet here is very nice, just like the one for the MG carrier was. It looks like an old-timey manual, or maybe some sort of dossier. These are the sort of instruction booklets I like to keep. There's a bunch of information at the start and it is quite a lot to read, but that's not a bad thing. They've also included a bibliography. You don't really see that, well, ever. The instructions themselves are quite good as well. As I probably said last time, and a few times during the MG Carrier build streams, I really like that they highlight in blue the parts you're adding to whichever assembly. It lets you know how the assembled thing should look without being too confusing. The instructions look to be well laid out and shouldn't be too hard to follow at all, but as always, I'm probably going to want a different angle here and there, but that's a very minor complaint that I have for pretty much all instruction sets. Next, we have a series of painting and marking guides. It seems only one of these mentions being used by the Germans, and I guess that's fine, and it does make sense. I believe this vehicle was only used by the Germans in World War II, long after the car was past its prime. I do like the amount of paint schemes they show though. The last page shows some people Copper State models would like to thank, which is a nice touch. It's nice to be thanked for your work, I guess. Anyway, that's what's in the box. It looks like a really nice kit, and I'm expecting it'll turn out to be an excellent model, barring some sort of Herbert-induced disaster, of course. I don't think this is going to be the easiest build. There are quite a few fiddly-looking bits, and some thin little odds and ends that are definitely going to require some gentle, careful handling, but really that's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it really doesn't look to be the most difficult kit either. So it's probably not really suitable for a fresh beginner modeler, but somebody who's already built a handful of kits is probably going to be up to the challenge that this one presents. At the moment, I'm not sure exactly when I'll start building this on my stream, but most likely I'll start in April. So if you're keen on watching me put this together live, mistakes and all, you can do so over on my Twitch channel, and there'll be notifications if you follow me there. Also on Discord. So do those things. There are links in the description. If that's not your cup of tea, that's okay, but you'll have to wait a bit longer for the build video here on YouTube, which will appear at some point after the model is finished, and not before that because time is linear. If you've got any questions or comments, or if you've built this kit and know of something tricky that I should keep my eye out for, put it in the comment section below. And if you've not already done so, why not subscribe here on YouTube for the low price of nothing? Even I can afford that. But if you've got the means and you want to help a Herbert Erpaderp do Herbert Erpaderp things, and you want to see my videos a bit early and take part in polls and such, consider becoming a patron. You can find links to Patreon, and all of my other things like Discord and social media, in the description below. And as always, I shall return soon. So until then, be excellent to each other, have a fantastic day, and thanks for watching. Farewell.